everybody. This is Brandy and Jill. We are here at Potomac Falls on March 18th, day 2 of our closure. We wanted to kind of say hi and check in with you guys. So, Jill, how's it been going for you being at home?
Well, I definitely missed everybody. I'm not great with being at home. The boys are in the basement playing video games, of course. My basically 20 and 22-year-old, and my daughter's still running around with a friend at a time. So I was a little lonely yesterday. I missed you all. But I hope to see people soon, maybe just walking 6 feet apart. So I'm glad to have something to do today. Brandy and I are here. She just made a mat video, and I'm going to do some restore with a foam roller.
Great.
All right, so I always suggest a warm-up first. So I'm just going to do the hundreds for myself because I'm starting fresh. So you could do hundreds, double leg stretch, a little bit of that, and then get to the roller. Maybe take a walk. After a walk when you're warm, start rolling. So I'm just going to get on my back and do hundreds. You can do this with me or something else you prefer to do. So I'm just going to come into tabletop. You can start with that head down. I'm going to go ahead and lift up my head, neck, and chest. Make sure you're preserving that space the size of an apple so you're not right on your chest. And I'm just inhaling for 5, exhaling for 5. Might want to go ahead and extend those legs. Some of us like to do our little lower lift. Make sure you're maintaining imprint. The length of the spine is on the back, on the mat, I should say. Sometimes I like to do a little Pilates V here. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And then I'm just going to take it to a double leg stretch. Extend, exhale, bring it in. Inhale, extend. Double leg stretch is one of my favorites because I really like pulling it in nice and tight and then extending to work those abs. Make sure you keep that head, neck, and chest lifted. You don't let it go back. And then I'm just going to do a quick single leg stretch, pulling into the chest and switching. You can just make a frame for your knee, or if you know the way to have the opposite hand on the opposite knee, do so. And then you all know I like to keep at this so we can pick up that pace for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just to check my breath while I'm talking and doing this, let's go into our scissors. And I love my scissors. Slow it down a little bit. I've got a little bit of hamstring issues on my left, so it doesn't go quite as far. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then take a break. Maybe just circle those hips around a little bit. All right, let's get started while I catch my breath. So I have a small roller here with me today, one I have at home that I've traveled with. I'm sure a lot of people have rollers at home. You're not quite sure how to use them. That's the purpose of the video, so you could use this. I'll use the one we have here in the studio, and I'm still out of breath. So I got a trigger point ball. You can use this if you like for the calves. I just have it here to show it to you. You can, of course, purchase this on Amazon. You may not get it as fast as you have in the past. And then you can use a strap for some stretching. We'll just do a quick little stretch at the end. So I'm going to work on the legs, and in the studio we usually work up one leg and then the other. I'm going to work both today just for the purpose of being a little bit quicker, but I'll show you how you can put a little bit more focus on one leg or the other. So working on the right or the left together, you can either roll both, or to get a little bit more tension, go ahead and roll the calf starting right above the ankle towards the knee. And I just work back and forth lifting up those hips. You can also keep the hips down if it's a little tough to lift that for the upper body, and just roll that roller. And then come into some cross friction a little bit side to side. So that way we're getting the inside of the calf, the outside, and then you would do the same thing if you're prioritizing the other side. And I hope this camera's not up close because I'm noticing the hair on my legs is really hairy, but I'm sure you will forgive me. And I just want to know, this is, let you know, Brandy and I, this is our first video, so if they're not quite as professional, I'm sure you'll forgive us. And we'll get a little bit more, I should say, better at this maybe as we go along. So I'm just rolling a little bit more on that left. And again, if you have a trigger point ball and you really want to get a little bit more intense, you can place that under the calf as well. And it's definitely more intense. I've got a little spot here. As a young dancer, I had one winter where I was rehearsing the candy cane lead in a cold room, and I was about 18, and I think I've still got egg-sized knots in there. So this can really get at. Now looking at Brandy's face because she knows what I'm talking about.
I do.
So herself. So you're getting a little insight about us. All right, so I'm going to continue with the large roller. Brandy, my ankle okay?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to take it up above the knee. So back and forth, side to side. There is such thing as too much rolling. We say to 2 to 3 passes. Of course, people are often going for 3 to 4. That's okay. You just don't want to stay here for like 15 minutes on the lower leg. So let's go ahead and move to the upper leg to get more pressure. I'll press one leg over the other. So now my right, I'm in that lower hamstring. And then I'll take a little bit side to side. Make sure I'm lifting up out of my shoulders. So, we don't want to totally collapse in the chest. And then I would do the same on the other side. Lower hamstring. I can feel myself actually getting excited about getting to the glutes because that's all our favorite. And then going back to the right, I'm going to get right back up on that roller. And for some of you who've taken Restore with me, know my favorite thing to do is actually to balance on the roller, but knowing that's not always available to everybody, you could always have something beside you, whether it's a wall or I want to say a box, but maybe just an ottoman or a piece of furniture to hold on to. Or you could just be back like this on that roller. So I feel like I can get right into those glutes if I'm right on it. And to put more attention to one side, cross one leg over the other. So it's like I'm right up on my sits bones, right up on my piriforma there, like a pyramid. Getting right in there. And then one of my other favorite moves is to cross one leg over the other. So this is like your figure 4 stretch, and then take my weight again to that right side. So now as I'm bending the leg, the muscle and the fascia is more taut, so I'm getting more pressure there. And as I roll back, really look at that surface area. As I've said with foam rolling, as you've heard me in class, it's really a matter of educating yourself about your body and what feels good. Or in the case of Restore, what doesn't feel good, where you're feeling that tension and that fascia release potential. And then I'll bring that to the other side. Yeah, that's really good. It's nice I'm getting myself a little bit of workout while I share this with you. A little bit of rolling out. We could all use some tension release on these days. All right, so I'm going to go into my favorite movement here, still on the glutes. So you're going to take that roller under you, and you're going to have it about as far apart, I should say as far as away from your chest as your hands are on that roller. Of course, that may differ depending on the length of your spine. And then you can just roll those hips back and forth. And some people, you want to get a little bit of a ab work in here. Make sure you're pulling in those abs. You can go ahead and do toe taps, alternating, or even your little single leg stretch. You can even go to some scissors. Get a little bit more cardio out of this. But mainly think about, if you're doing Restore, focus on the glutes. That roller forward. I'm going to come up onto my side. So now we're going to go ahead and do the IT band. So if you've heard me in class, I refer to this as the Bermuda Triangle. And I'll go ahead and work on my left. So I'm going to take the roller aside, facing you. So it's a good idea to bring your roller back, and that gives you an opportunity to take your front foot, and I say make a kickstand in front of you so you can bear that weight. It's a bit more intense if you bring your legs back. If you're very familiar with foam rolling, that might work for you. Otherwise, definitely give yourself that option to bear some of the weight on this front leg. And I'm starting up towards my hip and rolling down. I'm just doing a few inches here at a time. You can always bend and straighten that back leg to get that cross friction type of feeling. And then begin to take it down a little bit more. And then while you're doing this, you can always rotate forward a little bit more, especially if it's very painful. Go to the edge of the quad here. That might give you a little bit more manageable pain relief, I should say.
You're making it look very nice. I don't look like that when
Really?
it's on my IT
Are you
band.
making grimaces? It's
Yes.
not too bad for some reason. I'm actually surprised. Yeah. Do Do you do much foam rolling?
Yeah, I have to because I run as well.
Oh, yes.
So I have
yes.
to.
So
yeah.
I do not run. Yeah, saving grace there. Although I've had a chiropractor work on this, and it is like killer, you know, goodness Zeus. And then I'm continuing to go back towards the knee, or down towards the knee, getting on that lower part of the leg. Yeah, it's a little bit more intense there. So again, it's just getting to know your body. I'm going to stop there. Now you see me grimacing.
Yeah.
This is where you can make those horror faces. Try this with your kids. And then I'm going to go a little bit lower. Yeah, it's a little bit more intense by the knee for me. All right, so you don't want to stay here so long that you're just feeling stressed. So as your relief point is to come forward onto your quads. So for most people, this should be a little bit less. And be aware, see how I'm just arching my back. Not great for the back. Pull in those abs so you can give yourself a little lower back support. And you can keep those legs straight. You can bend them and then weigh them side to side to get a little bit on the edges. I like to put a lot of weight into one hip, so I'm really lightening my load on this right now. So I'm getting much more intensity on my left quad, and then simultaneously the same thing on this side. So now this one is real light on the roller. And it's interesting, I'm noticing as I'm doing this, there is a little bit of a cardio impact just from what you're doing, you know, as I'm talking and doing this. And then you can always circle those legs around like you're doing a little bit of a frog movement here. So again, make sure you're pulling those abs up and in, just to take pressure off the lower back.
So even though you're doing restore, you're still getting working your abs, working your arms,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
everything
So
in the
yeah,
side
so
bodies.
just be aware too. So I could really be popping into these shoulders, so I'm lifting up here. Mainly because I'm thinking about how I look aesthetically. My neck is like not such a great. So you know, think about yourself being filmed for this. Think about yourself being on the Today Show, showing us. You know, you're welcome to make fun of us and go on Instagram like this. All right, so I'm going to show inner thigh. I'll just show it on one leg. So you'd angle that roller out to the side like this. Rebecca always says chalk man. So it's going to be in line with your inner thigh. And I'm just going to bring it to the mat. And I'm going to angle it out to the right with the left between my legs as I'm working on the right. I'm going to come onto that roller and just be working that inner thigh. And I like to start at the knee area because that's where it's actually more taut for me. Here goes my face. And I'm able to angle my left knee out a little bit because I've got some turnout that may not be available to you. So just make sure you're not right on the knee there, you know, on the floor. Any potentially loose patellas, we don't want any dislocations there. And then you can bend and straighten this knee as well. Just hold it on a spot, and I've got one right there. And it gives you a little bit more tautness here. And then release. I really needed this today. Thank you, Brandy. And then you can just get a little bit more different surface area, rotating that leg back and forth. And I know you know how to do the other side. To do the other side, you just take it out. And I'm just going to skip that, but you can certainly pause the tape and do the other side with me. I'm going to move on to finish to the back before we do a stretch. I'm just making sure I got everything on the leg. I did. All right, so to do the back, we're going to start just where the ribs are here. You don't want to be here in the soft parts where the kidneys are. And you're just going to position yourself with your feet flat on the floor, your knees bent. Take your hands behind your head. Lift up your butt here. That way you're going to get some more pressure with your body into that roller. And I just start at the lower ribs up to the bra line, or the tachometer line if a gentleman has one on there, right to the shoulder blades. And then at any point you can put your bottom down and just bend side to side. Elbow coming to the waist. And then also at this point, if you have a healthy spine and upper and neck here, you can go ahead and arch back. That can feel pretty good. Use those abs. Exhale up. Inhale back. Someone's calling me at the other end of the studio. My daughter's probably No. And then I'll continue up, walk those feet forward. So make sure you don't end up like this. That can be pretty tough on the knees. So walk those feet forward as you adjust yourself on that roller and up to the shoulder blades. This can feel really good. And then if you have any trap issues, you may find you want to angle that roller out to the side to get anything specific there. Again, it's just an education of getting to know your body. I'm going to take mine back to parallel. Up on those shoulders. And so again, I'm lifting my hips, which can be a little bit of workout. Pull those abs in, so I'm making sure I'm not opening up the ribs, pulling them in. So get a little bit of bridging in here as well. It's fun to do bridging with the feet on the roller as well. Get little hamstring curls in there. And then I'm going to take the roller up to the neck. I know this is most of our favorite position. We have occipital lobes here, so if you have a headache, this is often where you might feel it. So it's good to get that roller out. And just make little circles. I'm going to just draw myself a little bit this way. And I've got some bright lights up there, so hopefully in your room you might want to make sure you don't have overhead lighting. And just circling that head back and forth, nice and slow, making little circles with the nose. And then go ahead and draw your U's. Head down and up. And then angle that roll a little higher if you need to. I think my ponytail is kind of in the way there today. And then I like to just stay on one side and nod that head up and down. And then take it to the other side. And the same thing. And now you're ready to take a nap. I am. And then just go back to anything that's your favorite. And then to finish up, I'm going to bring ourselves into a back extension and also a little bit of release on our forearms. So come onto your belly. And bring yourself all the way down to your mat or your blanket or your towel. And start with that roller above your elbows. So north of your elbows, away from your body. Okay, so make sure it's not back here. It's beyond those bony prominences. And then you're just going to face down. You're going to lift up that head, neck, and chest and roll forward into a back extension. So I want you to see here, my shirt's not real tight. Make sure you're not popping those ribs. So pull those abs up away from the mat. And you can also get a little forearm work here. As you lift up, exhale up, and inhale down. Do work within the range of your spine. So maybe this is it for you, maybe this is it for you, maybe you're all the way up. I'm not super worn, but I may have a little bit more back extension than some of you just because of my dance background. And you can widen those feet out as well to take the pressure off the spine. So do make sure you're pulling that belly button up and in. And again, if you want to stay up here for a moment, take a look at the textures on your roller. And I'm noticing like I have a little tightness over here in my left shoulder, so that's interesting feedback for me. In fact, it's clicking. And then I'm going to go ahead and come onto my back, and my roller is floated away. And I'm just going to finish up with some stretching. So we're going to do some hamstring stretches. This might be good for you. Just to have your feet here, your hands might be here, you might be able to touch your feet. I'm going to be able to touch my feet and just bring myself over. And this is a great release. For any stretch, your best friend is your breathing and also holding for at least 30 seconds. Just trying to get that release. You can take both hands to one leg. So I have both hands over my left foot. Bringing my face to my knee. Again, this might be where you are. And then bring it to the other side. Now, if you're super flexible, you could put your feet up on the roller. So that's going to elevate this and give you a little bit more pull through your hamstrings and come over. You have a strap at home, or you could just use a towel or a belt, an elastic band. And I realize there's a hole in my sock, so yes, we're real people. Just gonna pull it towards me. Wow, that's a great stretch. And I have a feeling if I crossed, yeah, that would just accentuate a little bit more on the side here. So definitely some options. You might wanna be here, have your back nice and straight. And then you can just use the strap. See, I'm also I can get a little arm workout here as well. Little surprises we're learning. Again, as I always say, 2 for 1, 3 for 1. And then take it to the other side. great stretch. I'm really feeling it in the calf here. You might feel it in the hamstring or glute. You may feel it in the back, and I'm taking it away from the back just by bringing my belly forward. And actually this accentuates a little bit more in my hamstring. So again, just be aware of that posture. You can accentuate that stretch by pulling everything in alignment. And then I just happen to feel like doing a roll up. So you saw Brandy in the mat video. So for modification, you can keep those knees bent on the floor, come up, grab onto those thighs, and bring yourself over. I like to sometimes just roll down. You can come up to a straight back and then roll back. And I'm just going to do one with the knees straight. Take a breath. Exhale, come up and stretch over and come up and roll down. And then maybe fold your knees into your chest, just rock side to side. And we are done, and I am dizzy with our restore today. So thank you for joining us. Again, forgive us for our knee bobbles. We're new at this. We're so happy to see you. Keep working out at home. Get out, take some walks, get some cardio, and do some mat exercises with us. Bye-bye.
Bye.